partnership. Thank you.
Thank you both. I will start with the German press agency. Verena, here on the left.
I'm Verena with the German press agency. Mr. Barnier, could you confirm for me that you will need clarifications or concessions, whichever you prefer, from the UK within 2 weeks in order to move on to the second phase in December? Thank you.
Ma réponse est oui.
My answer is yes.
Okay. Let's move on the right. Yes, James. Move to the right, yeah.
Mr. Davis, first of all, what happened to accelerating these talks, as Mrs. May promised? This is, it's been almost a month since you last met. These talks only lasted 2 days instead of the normal 4. And do you understand businesses' concerns that time's passing and that this uncertainty is deeply damaging to them? And if I may, after watching recent events in London, how concerned are you now that before this process is over, you may be dealing with a different government in the UK?
Shall I start? James, as I just said, in what I said earlier, we remain ready and willing to engage as often and as quickly as is needed to ensure this outcome over the weeks remaining ahead of the December European Council. There's been a change in pace, I think. But ultimately, this is about delivering results, and that will depend on the content, not just the speed of the negotiation.
I don't know really which is the easiest question between the two. Non, je ne vais pas évidemment faire de commentaires sur la situation.
I'm not going to comment on the internal political situation in the United Kingdom. We are, of course, watching it closely. But I also follow the public debate in the UK closely. And we try to provide information and answer questions. The other day I was struck by the reaction amongst the British population to the fact that I met Nick Clegg and others, but my door is open. For example, this week I met a delegation from the House of Commons Parliamentary Committee. We negotiate with the government of the United Kingdom, the government in place, and that government has confirmed that they will be leaving the European Union. They wish to leave the single market and the customs union, and that's all I can say. Thank you.
And I saw Mark Peppercorn there, centre left.
Good afternoon. Sorry, Mark Peppercorn, Netherlands. Mr. Barnier, could you tell us also what you will do if you don't get the clarification you want within 2 weeks? And secondly, I mean, this is now the 6th round of negotiations. Well, maybe we should say 5.5, because this week was not much. How confident are you that you will get clarification to continue to get a deal on sufficient progress in December, if you look to what happened the last 5.5 rounds? Thanks.
Our technical experts, our two teams, are still working with each other in between the rounds to prepare for the rounds in order to clarify certain points. So, as I'm sure you've appreciated, these rounds are important. I mean, certainly for me, because I am working with a certain remit and under the supervision of the Council, the other Member States and the European Parliament. And before each round and after each round, I need to embark on in-depth dialogue with them, which is why I need time. But our very professional teams of experts, David Davis, Holly Robbins, and their teams and our teams do have exchanges and discussions in between rounds to prepare for them. Now, you said 6 rounds. Well, yes. But you can see how complex these negotiations are. Now, we haven't actually taken stock of everything yet. I've said this before. From a legal point of view, there's about 1,000 international agreements that the UK is going to have to leave in one way or another. There are thousands of legislative acts, and there will be human and social repercussions that are important for us. There will also be economic and financial consequences. So 6 rounds is hardly anything. I mean, we'll be hopefully having a 7th round soon. Now, of course, we're not at the stage of settling everything in the nitty-gritty, but we want sufficient progress. But we want sincere and real progress, as I said. I, myself, have to tell the citizens about what rights they're going to have. We have to make sure that both EU citizens in the UK and UK citizens in the 27 member states, I have to report to them. Now, and there are many other actors, European Development Fund, there are other actors outside Europe, stakeholders in Africa, for example, that are also involved. So we have to make sure that we maintain stability and dialogue in Ireland as well. Now, we haven't got to that stage yet. So, as I said, we're not trying to settle all the details now. If we manage to reach an agreement on sufficient progress, then we will have several months, right through to October 2018, to finalise this draft treaty, this agreement. But from a political, as well as a technical and financial point of view, we need to have sufficient progress on these 3 indissociable issues: citizens, Northern Ireland and the financial settlement, but we haven't got there yet.
Okay. Let's then go to the Telegraph. Yes, go ahead, please.
Peter Foster with the London Daily Telegraph. Mr. Davis, you yourself have said we need to move on to a political discussion about the money. This week has been a stock-taking exercise, we're told. Can you tell us why you're going to be in any better a place to make a deal in December than you were in October? And to Mr. Barnier, these talks are deadlocked, Mr. Barnier, and you yourself had a very good suggestion about how to move them on, which was that you could talk transition with the British while thrashing out the details of the bill, but you were overruled by the member states. Do you feel you have the personal authority to conduct this negotiation, or put another way, who is running this negotiation? Is it you, or is it the French and the Germans?
Can I start? Well, first thing I'd say is December depends on sufficient progress, and that's a Commission construct, and as Michel has just been explaining what that looks like. But let's be clear. I've said it on several occasions in these press conferences, including today. There's no doubt that we have made and continue to make, including this round, significant progress across a whole range of issues. Across the board, we've made progress towards resolving some really difficult questions. And that, of course, will continue at pace between now and December. And I hope it will lead to sufficient progress. Michel.
Merci, David.
Thank you, David. Before I answer your question, I'd like to supplement my earlier answer. Real and sincere progress. I have to present a sincere and real picture on those 3 subjects to the European Council and the European Parliament. If that's not the case, then we will continue. And that will put back the opening of discussions on the future. Which brings me on to your question now. That includes the transition, because that does relate to the future, because it would start on the 30th of March 2019, after the actual exiting of the United Kingdom, and our future relations and the long-term partnership that we wish to agree on with the United Kingdom. Of course, France and Germany's position is important. They have important points of view on these matters. But I listen to all 27 EU member states and the European Parliament. And yesterday I was in Italy meeting the Prime Minister. I was in Slovakia last week. Next Monday I'm in Poland. And we have contacts with other member states and governments. And every day I weigh up two elements of importance to me. The unity of the 27 and the confidence, the trust they have in their negotiator.
All our negotiators do not have, unfortunately, more time. Thank you all for your presence. See you.
Well, that was David Davis, the Brexit Secretary, and Michel Barnier, the European Chief Negotiator. Michel Barnier saying that we have 2 weeks to make progress on those three key areas, being citizens' rights, the Northern Ireland border